How's it going, guys? So, sorry about the lack of tutorials lately, but here's a lightning one. This is for the Film Riot contest. That's what the video is for. If you haven't seen it, hit the link that's on the screen right now. This is going to show you roughly how I did it. I'm just going to show you guys the basics, how to use the tools to accomplish this. I'll show you how to do 1 or 2 lightning bolts, but it's up to you to basically do the rest, because it's going to take a while, and I've been here for days trying to figure all this out. So I don't want to sit here for days making a tutorial. So first thing we're going to do is the eyes. As you can see how they glow there, they sparkle, they look all nice and pretty. So what you're going to do is make sure this says 32. If it doesn't, change it to 32. Another thing you're going to do is you're going to need a granite texture. So what we're going to do is select our timeline, hit Command Y, make sure it says white as your solid, hit enter. And then you're going to go and make sure that's clear, move that over, I say to roughly the end. And what you're going to do is we're just going to do the one eye for now. You'll figure out how to do the other one. And you'll hit G for your pen tool and just mask out the eye roughly. Beauty. So it's a rough mask. What you're going to do is hit that button, go through, and I'm just doing it roughly, but you guys should do it much better. And so you're just going to keep doing this every few frames until you have the eye done. Once you have all your frames done, what you're going to do is you're going to hit F for feathering. Make sure that's on 3. That's it. Easy. So what you're going to do now is just close that, and we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to mask out the pupil. This is going to be a much easier process because you pretty much just have to put a circle over roughly where the eye is. So make sure you turn on your mask path, go every couple frames. So once you have that done, now the one great thing about the pupil, if he closes his eyes, you don't have to follow it. And so what you're going to do now is you're going to go and pre-compose that pupil. So make sure you have this selected, move all attributes. Let's just call it Pup. So what you're going to do now is grab your mask layer, copy that. Let's go back here and copy that to the pupil layer. So what that's going to do is it's going to basically follow the pupil. So when it closes, when the eye closes, the pupil will close at the same rate. So let's just turn that back on. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go to your effects and presets tab and basically drag in the fill. Here you're going to go and you're going to enter in a blue. Now I already have a code here that doesn't work. I lost the code. Oh well. Just go roughly find a nice blue that you like, hit OK, and you're going to do the same thing to the actual pupil. So go, click, drag that in there, and find out roughly the same blue. Maybe go for a brighter blue on the pupil, and there you go. So you have the pupil, you have the actual eye, looks something like that. Remember, your pupil, your feathering is going to be 3. For your actual eye, your pupil, the feathering's 2. Your actual eye is going to be 3. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go and pre-compose everything. Let's call it Pup 2-piece because we're creative. Now what we're going to do is, remember when I told you to make sure you have your granite? Well, you're going to drag that into play here. And what I find is if I hit Shift and go down to Pup, that works. Change this to, actually what we're going to do is select the mask of Pup and paste it onto the granite. That's going to put it right onto the eye, and it's going to stay onto the eye. Now I find that I always have to track that to the Pup, because when I don't, it never lines up. I don't know why it should, but go overlay. That's going to basically give you kind of a nice little color and texture to the actual image. Basically, as the granite flows through, it's going to give some texture and some movement to the eye. which will look nice, especially for energy effects. Now, what I also like to do is change your actual eye layer at the bottom and change that to overlay as well. That's just going to help blend in the eye with the rest of the face, as you can see right there. Now it's time for the fun part, and that would be, actually, that's what the eye would look like. So you can see the texture in there. If I go to the pup layer and turn off the granite, you can see the difference. So that's with it on, and that's with it off. So it's going to give you some nice texture you would like to have to play with. So we're going to create a new layer, and now this step only works if you have optical flares. So what you're going to do is hit, you can search for optical flares, but I'm just going to do it this way. You can get this plugin off Video Copilot's site. It's much easier to work with. So I'm going to go with optical flares. By the way, it is free. And you're going to go and select a lens flare. So I already have one under a preset I like. I can probably get rid of like the multi-irises. I don't want those. Let's just say okay. And I'm going to go on transparent, and I'm going to change this to screen. And I'm going to put this roughly to where his eye is. And I'm going to go and bring down the scale. It doesn't have to be that big. Should I have screen or add? Let's stick with screen. Screen's not as scary. And what we're going to do is we're going to go and hit this position X and Y. And we're going to go and follow the positions all the way through. Okay, so now that it's all tracked, what I did was every time he closes his eyes, I changed the brightness here. So it went from 50 down to 40 down to 20 as he 50 to 40 down to 0 as he closed, and then reversed as he opened his eyes. Now another thing you could do is, I'm going to show you this. I never used it for the eyes, but you can do it as well. If you alt click the stopwatch on brightness and you type in wiggle, open bracket 925, hit enter, you can do any value. Basically, it's how much it's going to change the brightness. So you can see his eye is flickering. It's going on and off. You don't have to do it for this, but what I do find is it's very useful for the hammer. I just showed you that for now because you might want to use it. So I'm going to go and I'm going to click that off. You can change your color as well, which is nice. I added a Gaussian blur to help kind of blend it into the eye, which worked very well. Now you can also add a flicker. You can just change these values to, again, adjust the brightness. But I find wiggle works the best for me, and I find it's a lot easier to control. I don't know how to use it, that's why. Your scale and brightness, two different things. Your position X and Y, if you hit that, go over there, that's going to show the position of where your flare is going to go. I'm not going to get too much into how to use optical flares, because if you have it, you should know how to use it already. If you don't have it, then you don't get it for your shot. Or what you can do is, I believe there might be a flare thing. Maybe it's under styles. I haven't used it in years, but I believe there is a flare in here. It's probably right in front of my face. I don't know. I don't use it very often, but it is there. You can use it. And that's pretty much how you do the eye effect for the Thor eye effect. I'll get you guys in part 2 on how to do the actual hammer or the lightning. This tutorial went on long enough. Thank you so much for watching, and take off, users.